CD for, let's say, Quake 3 Arena, and just being able to download the Linux binary for it from its website. And so the game I already own, I can now play on the other system.
How you go around the GNU license if you want to start making games on Linux?
Well, what a lot of people seem to think when it comes to the GPL is that you're not allowed to sell, when in fact the GPL, it allows you to sell, and in fact it's one of the freedoms you're able to do is sell. It's a bit different than packaging a toaster, which is the way most software is. You have code that's secret, and it's just packed in. Here's a license to this thing. So you got something that is easy to copy, but then you're enforcing it through legal mechanisms and maybe copy protection, saying no, this is an individual, completely separate entity. But the other thing too is you don't need to use the GPL for your code. So Quake 3 is open source now, but when it was first released for Linux, it was still a proprietary game. So you can still, and there's a number of people who make games for Linux commercially. And I think I know of one game, I don't remember the title of it, that is open source. Actually, I know a couple games actually, but it's open source but commercial. So many people see this as a contradiction when it really isn't. It's a misunderstanding for what open source and free software is. That if you think free sounds like it shouldn't cost anything, when that's not the point of it. It's an unfortunate name for it, but that's what people call it. And so it is possible to sell free software because it's not freeware.
Okay.
And on top of it, like I said, you don't have to worry about the GPL if you're not using open source code in your game.
I usually wonder that you should try gedit instead of BI.
Well, I actually used gedit a few times, but I really like BI. So I can SSH into another machine and develop on there if I want to.
I do that too, that's nice.
My target market is tends to be the working person, a little bit older, like I guess the 80s and early 90s generation when I was younger. I used to play games. So I guess it's still egocentric. Like he's focused on Linux. I'm focused on the older guys and gals who have families possibly, don't have a lot of time to sit there for 90 hours and play World of Warcraft or something like that. Well, it's kind of my target market is to have a very fun and engaging. I know my company's called Immersive Realms. I hate to say immersive because that's like a big buzzword down the industry. And damn it, they took the name of my company.
Yeah,
That was a
like
whole
your trademark.
Yeah. But like I want to have like as engaging of an experience as possible. That's very, like intensely fun for somebody. Just for a short period of time, they could put it down and then come back later on and play, or they could sit there and play for longer if they want. It's whatever their time. So whenever I design my games, it's on time constraints, like 30-minute play, 1 hour play. How fun is this game? Can I make something that's kind of fun? And I tend to look at older games, and this is probably going to segue to you, Mike. There's a magazine that came from the UK that I subscribed to. I used to subscribe to. I think it's now defunct. It was called Retro 64. And so,
Sure it wasn't Retro Gamer?
I think it might have been Retro Gamer. They said Commodore 64. That's probably I mixed it up. Retro Gamer magazine, that's right. And I used to look there for some inspiration as well. And then someone, might have been you, Francisco, out there in the audience, who told me, like, maybe you shouldn't just look at current games. Go completely outside your industry. Like, go to, like, Field Museum. Go to Art Institute. Go somewhere, like, that's completely out of technology, that's completely out of computers, it's completely out of video games. Go to a hospital. You might get some inspiration there.
Medici effect.
Yeah, and it's I think those are good ideas to grow various game ideas that you never knew existed.
I think the topic was underserved markets, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It seems like any market that's underserved isn't underserved for very long. So I'm sort of of the mindset that you should just make a better game than anything else in the market, and then you don't really have to work with. If you're trying to find the soft spot, I think flash games with premium content, where it's either item buy or subscription, are I know some people who are just making money hand over fist with games that you wouldn't think would ever make money. And so like I said, it was underserved a year ago. It might not even be underserved now, but there's undersell opportunity there. You know, now the iPhone's opened up. They've kind of said that Apple's kind of said they're going to publish anything, and I don't know how exactly they're going to do that. I mean, because they're going to have to review the content. So they might mean we'll publish anything from a large company who pays us money or something like that. But I don't know. I guess the most underserved market is whatever market you really like, because that's the one you're going to be the most enthusiastic about to make the best game.
Yeah, I agree that that's exactly what that egocentric viewpoint is. I don't have hours to play video games, so I kind of want to make games to cater to that type of demographic. Men and women. Sometimes even young adults, college students, they don't have a long. They should be studying. I remember how I was in school, but maybe even that is a valid market to get for shorter gameplay, but very fun experience.
Actually, on that note, a lot of people try to look at the problem of how do you get more girls to play games, because you look at video game players and people usually say, oh, it's mostly just adolescent boys shooting things. No, because you can actually have girls play games that aren't Barbie or have horses on the box. You actually have a lot of girls play games like Quake 3 and anything like BioShock. They play games just like you would think if you looked at it and thought that it was just mainly boys. You have girls that actually play the same games, so they exist. It's not that girls don't play. I actually think it's just more, there are people who don't play video games. When I had a beta test for my game, and I mentioned how some people really got into it, and some people just kind of, they looked up and said that was nice. They were being polite.
Good job.
Because they don't play games. And it was weird because I actually saw it was pretty even. Whether it was a female or a male playing the game, it seemed pretty even. They either really liked the game and kept playing it, or they just didn't want to keep playing it because they don't play video games. So on that note, I know that there's a lot of people who are interested in playing games, they just don't know it. I know somebody who went to the dentist and was talking about how he makes video games, and the person's like, I don't like video games. And it's like, well, they're not just violent Grand Theft Auto clones. It's, Bejeweled is something that a lot of people are playing casually. And that's just like, oh, I play that. And, there's this disconnect where they don't realize they play games. Lots of people play board games. Nobody looks at, hey, let's, whether you're in college or 80 years old, let's play a game of Monopoly. And people bust out the board game. Nobody looks at that and says that's for children. But if you talk about playing Super Smash Brothers with your grandmother, it's like, well, that's for kids. Unless your grandmother plays Super Smash Brothers,
That's a cool grandma.
There also does seem to be a relationship, statistically anyway, between casual games with easier controls and women actually being willing to participate.
Are you saying women can't understand?
Right, exactly right. Down here, right, exactly here. I'm going to go out and shout arrows. But I mean, if you look around the room, it's a pretty testosterone-heavy room. That sort of reflects the video game industry as a whole, and I think. We're just starting to scratch the surface of what is really, appealing in gaming.
Yeah, I think,
Not to draw gender distinctions.
I think Guitar Hero, and the Wii in general has brought a lot of people into games that 5 years ago were not into games. And, I think, it'd be hard to have seen that underserved market then, but I think it's pretty clear now that there is a huge number of people that have been brought in.
What's the demographics on Pogo?
Pogo?
I mean, it's primarily middle-aged women.
Not better to Ash also.
The whole casual game industry is, even on the PC download side anyways, 65% female, and it's $1 billion industry, so, and that's just PC downloadables, so they're out there and they're downloading.
Yeah.
And they haven't made it in other markets, but they are the market, the actual market.
And I went to a talk, it was an IGDA meeting, I can't remember her name, but she gave a talk on how to make your game more female friendly. And I think the biggest takeaway I got from that was you're not trying to target women, you're trying to target people who play games. And since that's pretty much everybody, it's just a matter of, can you make the game so that it's not intimidating to somebody who doesn't play video games normally? So when I was thinking about that, it's like, if you got into Super Mario 64, you immediately were confronted with a sign, and you could go up to read it, and it was very easy, and it told you exactly what to do, and you can just explore and do whatever. You sit someone down in front of, here's an interesting game, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.